Okay, this is, you can write this down. This is point number one. Point number one is the very definition of success. See, success is kind of like this ambiguous word. Success is really, ultimately, a philosophy. You've probably heard me say this in the past if you've followed any of our videos. A lot of people believe that your success is predicated and based upon the economy. If the economy is doing well, then you're doing well. If the economy is doing poorly, then you're doing poorly. I do not believe that your income is determined by the economy. I believe that your income is determined by your philosophy. Success is a philosophy. I had these shirts made by this guy down in Fort Myers, and it's success. Success, in my definition, is to have an allergy to excuses. And it's a belief that the worst thing that I could ever be is just like everyone else. Did you know that only 80% of the people, 80% of the population, they're failures. They're never going to be successful. Successful in life, successful spiritually speaking, successfully financially speaking. Financially successful in any other ways you can measure success. 80% of the people will fail at this. Why? Because your success is determined by your daily routine. It's a philosophy. Of course it's a philosophy. It's a strategy. It's a tactic. It's a game plan. In order to have success, you have to have the right philosophy. There's nothing worse, in my estimation, than living in the right country with the wrong philosophy. Nothing worse than that. Let's go through the bullet points real fast on sales. Point number one. Whenever I'm calling somebody on the phone to sell them my product, I have a belief that I can sell anyone. Anyone. And the only reason I can have that belief is if I totally understand the problems that company or person has, that I have a solution for. If I have the solution that is literally going to be music to the person's ears on the other line, and I believe that, you have to believe that. You have to believe that. And we talked about 12x, 10x, to have a 10x life, to do 10 times or 12 times, whatever your medium output is. I would say you have to believe, point number one, that you can sell anyone. But the only way you're going to have that belief that you can sell anyone on the phone is if you believe that your product is going to solve their problems. Okay, it has to be big problems too, because then the bigger the problem comes, the bigger the solution, and the bigger solution really energizes you. Right. Point number two. You have to believe that your product is worth 5 times what you're charging for it. Whatever they're going to pay for it, you have to believe, the one selling it, it's worth 5 times what the person on the other end is going to pay for it. Okay? And now you're going to have to rationalize that. Okay? You're going to have to come up with the bullet points in your own mind. The every single thing where everything about this product that could add a benefit to that person's life, you have to literally go by point and say, oh man, this is the value. And you just got to keep building on that value. It's got to be worth 5 times what you're selling, because that's going to give you passion. If it's worth 5 times, if you believe it's worth 5 times what you're selling, what that's going to do is you'll kind of have this belief that you're going to kind of say, man, this person would kind of be a fool on the other end not to buy this product. I mean, they would be very foolish for them not to get this. That's point number 2. Point number 3, you have to be willing to call back. Okay? I'll give you an example. I was, in fact, very recently, 18 months ago, I was trying to get in to the Department of Transportation of Highway Safety, the DOT. And I knew the person to talk to. I knew who he was. I had his contact information. I called him every single week for 6 months until finally he was willing to sit down with me face to face. In fact, one of the weeks I missed calling him on a Monday. And so when I called him back the following week, he says, hey, David, what happened to you? And I didn't hear from you last week. And it was kind of funny. But I ended up, so be persistent. It may take many times calling this person, but you got to make sure it's worth it. Don't just call somebody. Don't call somebody every day for 6 months if it's only going to be worth $200 to you. You really, it's got to be worth something. In my case, this was literally worth several thousands and thousands of dollars over the course of years. And so it was really worth it for me to keep calling this individual. Bullet point number 4.